Yep, you see it. It's exactly what happened. And yeah, I might have gone a little bit ahead of you guys. So, since the last time you saw me, we were taking the nose off, and you know, that kind of got into this area back here. But I hope you guys enjoyed that, because today we're going to try to the frame for you and extendo frame. So I hope you guys stick around, enjoy the content. This is Overland Garage. So what we have to do today is, hopefully, if everything works out as planned, is we're going to take the transmission out. Correction, we're going to leave the transmission for now, but we're going to at least take the exhaust, take the rear drive shaft, disconnect the fuel lines, pull the wiring harness out, and right here, this is a body mount. We're going to come exactly 4 inches off this body mount, and we're going to slice the frame perfectly straight. We're going to lay it all out nicely. I'll show you all that. And we're going to do the same thing on both sides, because the only difference between the extended cab, and I've been doing a lot of research, and I actually have a crew cab around the corner, but the only difference between these two trucks is exactly 8 inches. The body mounts are all in the exact same place, so if you're thinking about doing this, and you're as crazy as I am, it's actually not that hard of a swap, because the body mounts are all the same height on both trucks. The only difference is GM added 8 inches of frame section to the middle of their frame. So, if you want to do this job, you can. And so I'm going to show you how to do it. So, first things first, we got to get the simple stuff out of the way. And that involves my Sawzall and, you know, some other miscellaneous tools. But let's get started and start tearing this down. Now, these fuel lines are supposed to be a quick disconnect, or I call them a not so quick disconnect, because they never come apart. But you're supposed to be able to insert this little tool inside of them, which you can never get in there, and then they're supposed to disconnect, but it doesn't seem to be working like that. I got 2 different sets of tools. These ones are old school, but when they work, they work. I haven't been able to get them to work yet, so that's fun. Supposed to be able to just push them in. Yeah, right. What it's supposed to do is release a little clip inside this, but as you can see, it's going to take a little doing. I'm going to work on this for a little bit, and once I get this disconnected, we'll rip the rest of the fuel line out of here, and we'll start getting ready to cut this frame. So, that line not coming apart. That line is disconnected, but I was able to remove this whole line out of the loom far enough, I think, just to be able to cut it. So I'm not going to worry about it right now. I'm going to cut the frame since it's all disconnected, and I'll just slide it back, and then I'm going to have to add a piece anyways right here. So I think it'll be okay for now. So we're just going to leave it, pull it out of the way, and cut the frame. So the next thing we gotta do is we gotta disconnect this exhaust. And luckily for me, if I remember correctly, these are all band clamps, so we might get lucky and this thing actually just comes apart. Wouldn't that be nice? Doubtful, but nice. Nope, not happening. That is because I welded it on the bottom. What a dummy. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to do some grinding. before you do this job, you most definitely want to have these and some of these. You know the sad thing about that? That's supposed to be stainless, and as you can see, it's all starting to rust. I'm not very happy with that exhaust, and I spent a ton of money on it. So, if you're looking at the Jammer exhaust from whatever that website was that I got it from, you might want to reconsider. I might be able to polish it up a little, but I'm not that happy with it. Anyways, as a side note, now we're going to move back to this region and do the rear drive shaft. But I just wanted to show you that that's off. So, these are 11 millimeter. Don't ask me why they're 11 millimeter. Every Chevy I've ever worked on is 11 millimeter U-joint bolts, even in the early 90s. But that's weird. But anyways, they're not 7/16. 7/16 is way too tight. They're 11. But we're going to take those out and get the rear drive shaft out of this next. Now, a good thing to know is you should put a block behind each tire so that this whole thing doesn't roll, because there's nothing holding it here. So we're going to do that first, then we're going to throw an 11 millimeter wrench on that and take those bad boys out. Here we go. Nice thing about the front. Nice thing about the bed being off is you can actually get right in here. You don't have to like crawl into there and hurt yourself. Well, that's not necessary. Oh, why would they not? Why would they turn? That'd be too easy. Somebody used too many ugga-duggas to put this on. Oh, that was me. Now, a lot of people, when they're doing this, they take the bolts out and they tape them to the cap. They tape the caps and the straps all together in the drive shaft. That's not a bad plan. What I'm going to do is I'm going to throw the bolts and the straps right back in the rear end, so, you know, I don't lose them, because I'm really good at that. Even with organization, you can lose stuff. So, instead of losing them, we'll just throw them right back in. Also, while this thing is sitting, it doesn't get any rust buildup in the threads, and makes it easier for reassembly. Most people say you should not reuse these, and I tend to agree, but we're going to reuse them. There. Drive shaft delete. So, now that we got all that out, next thing I want to do real quick before we get into this next stage, and that's the cutting of the frame. I've got to cut that wiring harness. Yes, I'm going to cut it and splice it back together. It's not a big deal. Colors are all match. It's easy if you do it right. But what I really need to do first is clean all this up. So I'm just going to clean everything up, because there's nothing worse than trying to cut something or work on something and you're tripping over a drive shaft or an exhaust. So we're going to clean that up real quick, and then we'll get right into cutting this whole frameage. And then also, as a side note, we're going to use some jack stands, because the second I cut this frame, what's going to happen? All the weight's on that end, and all the weight is on that end. The frame's either going to go this way, or it's going to fall in. So we're going to just take some precautionary steps. I've laid a jack stand up there, I've got one back there, and I've got one on each side of the cut. So, you know, overkill, but it's worth it. Okay, now that that's all done, I'm just gonna grind this area up real quick so it's all shiny metal and we have something that's nice to work with. Alright, now that we got that out of the way, I want to show you a couple of tools that I brought. I got a regular square, speed square, they call this. That works great. I got another combination square. This works great. It's actually not the one I want. I want my big one, but I can't seem to find it. And then I got a regular, like a carpenter square. This might not work, but, you know, give you a couple of ideas. The biggest thing is you want to be accurate in your measurements. So, I've already done the math in my head, and actually by the other truck, and I know that I wanted to go exactly 3.5 inches from this body mount. So that's why you need to make sure everything's clean, because you don't want to be into the weld or something. You want to go exactly 3.5 inches. And I'm going to go over this again and make sure my measurements are exactly right. But usually if you get that where you want it, you can set the square on it and you can tell. Like, I can tell already that this measurement down here wasn't exactly the same. But you put your square on it, you can pull it over to 3.5. Same thing up here. It's 3.5. And then you just draw your line. This isn't an exact science. There's probably going to be a little bit of overlap, and that's okay. It's just as long as this measurement, your first cut's got to be really good, because if it's not, and you get to the splicing part, you're going to hate life. So as long as this one is really straight and good, should be all set. I'm going to go over the other side and do the same thing, and we're probably going to grab the plasma. We'll try it. If it doesn't work that good, then I'm going to try it on a piece of scrap first. If it doesn't cut very good on the scrap, then we'll go the old-fashioned way and grab the good old Sawzall and cutting wheel. Just wanted to zoom in here to show you what I had going on. That's the line that's 3.5 inches from this body mount to the line. So now we're going to get into cutting. So what we have here is the warfox plasma cutter, and it's got to be good, right? Because it says warfox, and that must mean that it's an angry fox or something. I don't know. But we're going to try to go ahead and through this now. I didn't test it, but why would we do that? That's just no fun. So we're just going to wing it and start cutting. So roll that beautiful B-roll. Hey guys, there you have it. One 2500 HD cut in half. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to grind all this down so it's got a nice beveled right there. I'm going to go cut the other pieces. I'm going to take some really good measurements and make sure that this is all going to line right back up nicely. We're going to put it back together and weld it all up. So that might be in the next video. I am running out of time to get this done today, but at least I'm going to attempt it. So stick around with me and we'll see what happens. So, as much as I'd like to finish this today, it looks like it's going to start raining, which is not great for my plans here. So I got to get all my tools picked up quickly. But in the next video, we'll be splicing that section of frame in and welding it all up. And then I'm going to add a plate in here as well. So you're going to want to stick around and stay tuned for that. In the meantime, if I can get the video uploaded in time for you guys to see it, I'm going to show you what I've been doing on the crew cab. So stay tuned, and I hope you guys enjoyed the content. Please give us a thumbs up, like, subscribe, share if you don't mind. That would be super helpful. And I look forward to seeing you guys again on the next episode of Overland Garage.